All right, let's talk about renting out houses for a second. Okay. So you want to rent out a house. What's the first step? The first step is you buy the house. Okay. The second step is you go find a nice looking couple that looks trustworthy and you put them in the house and hope that they pay you, right? You rent it out. Okay, let's say that I'm able to get, I don't know, 200 bucks in monthly cash flow. Okay, 200 bucks in monthly cash flow. How do I make that a higher return on investment? I want to talk about this. The formula for return on investment, ROI, is you take the reward. Sometimes we say reward divided by risk, but I'm going to say reward divided by cost. How much money did I have to put in, and how much money did I get out? So if I got $1 and the cost was $10, what's my return on investment? 10%, right? So return divided by cost. Return divided by cost. Okay, so what's the most expensive way to buy a house? What's the most expensive way to buy a house? Pay cash. Pay it in full, right? And so you buy it outright. Okay? So let's say that's A here. Let's say this is a $100,000 house. Okay, so if you pay $100,000 for the house and you're getting 200 bucks a month in let's say the positive cash flow, what is that? It's pretty pathetic, right? 200 bucks divided by 100,000. That is a 0.2% return. 0.2% return, right? That's 1/5 of 1% per month. Not that great. You're not leveraged at all there, are you? So what can you do to make that 200 bucks a month a better return on investment? You got to reduce the cost, right? You got to reduce the cost. So maybe instead of you putting up the whole 100,000 bucks, maybe you finance it and maybe you put up $20,000 and the bank pays the other 80,000. Right? That would give you a little bit of leverage. Give you a little bit of leverage. So you borrow money and you only have to put up 20,000. So that was your investment. Now you can rent out the house at 200 bucks. Now what are you getting? Return on investment. I'm getting 200 bucks on 20,000. That's a 1% return. Right? 5 times better. So instead of 0.2 of 1%, it's 1%. Okay? Now, could we try to go even further? I mean, could we finance even more of it and put up less of our money? If we could find a bank, or maybe a wealthy friend, say, hey, I'll put up 5,000 bucks, buddy. Can you put up the other 95? Right? Can you put up the other 95? And he says, sure, I like you, Tyler. Go ahead. You put up 5,000, I'll put up 95, and whatever the relationship and the deal is, you're making 200 bucks a month in positive cash flow. Okay, now I'm feeling pretty good, right? 200 bucks on 5,000. Now I'm getting 4% a month. Now I'm getting 4% a month. Okay. All right, what is the principle that I'm trying to illustrate? The principle I'm trying to illustrate is leverage, number one. Good answer, Paul. If I can reduce the cost, if I can reduce my cost on an asset, then the amount of monthly return I get is a much higher return on investment. Okay? Now think about who that benefits the most. Does that concept benefit somebody who has hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars as much as it benefits the guy who has $10,000? No, not really, because if you have all that money, you probably don't care that you're tying up a ton of money in the real estate. Maybe that's not as big of an issue for you. Right? But for somebody who doesn't have all that capital, being able to control this big asset with a small amount of money and be more efficient with your capital and generate a higher return is quite attractive. Okay? So what we do in the stock market is we buy stock and we try to rent it out using a strategy known as a covered call. Okay, so it's the same process. Number one, we're going to buy a stock. We're going to buy a stock. And number two, we're going to rent it out, and we do that by selling a covered call. Okay, and we're just going to say sell a call option. Okay, so let's talk about a particular stock. I'm going to use XOP. I like to use ETFs for this because you don't have to mess with earnings. And you pick an ETF. This is a sector ETF. Maybe I have a strong opinion on a sector. And I want to be bullish on that sector, and I think, hey, I don't mind getting long and selling covered calls for the next year or whatever. Okay, so XOP is $36.60. Everybody see that over here? $36.60. It recently reversed into an uptrend. See that here? Recently reversed into an uptrend. And so let's assume that we want to initiate some bullish exposure in energy. Okay, crude oil has been doing really well lately too. Okay, so if I buy that for 100 shares, or buy 100 shares for $36.60, what's that going to cost me? So if you have a cash account, you're going to have to put up $3,660, right? Now, what call option am I going to sell? Well, so I don't know. Can I draw? All right. Pictionary here, guys. First person to guess this, you get to brag incessantly for the rest of class. Just whenever you want, you can chime in and say, hey guys, remember how I got that answer right? Yeah, I'm a freaking genius. I am a genius. What is this? Oops, wrong color. Can of beans, close. Can of Coke. It's a barrel. It is a barrel. It's a barrel of oil. It's a barrel of oil. Okay, this is XOP. XOP. This is my house I'm buying. Okay, it's going to cost me, again, it's a $36 stock, $36.60. Cam, you're the judge. You get to decide who won that one. But so I got to pay $36.60. Now I'm going to sell a 1 month out of the money call option, the first strike out of the money. Okay, which is 37. I'm going to sell a 37 call option in December. Okay, how much would I get for that? December's 1 month out. The 37 call is one strike out of the money. Okay, I'm going to get, let's say, $1.15. It's $1.12 by $1.16, so let's call it $1.15. Okay. All right. So my rent is $1.15. Now, that would be per share. Let's state everything per contract. So let's go ahead and multiply it to 115 bucks. Okay? So if I paid cash for XOP and sold the call, I get $1.15, 115 bucks. So what's my ROI? 115 divided by 36.60. That's a 3% return. Okay? So that would be a potential 3% return. Let's put that in white here. So we would get about a 3% potential return, okay, if we put up and pay cash. Now, Paul's saying, but you can buy on margin. That's right, Paul, if you have a margin account. So A would be if you have like a retirement account or a cash account, right? Well, let's try to get leveraged here. Let's say we have a margin account and we only have to put up half of this. Your broker in a margin account only makes you put up 50% of the stock price typically. So 3660 times 0.5 is 1830. So if I use margin, I only have to put up $1,830, which doubles the potential return to 6%. You guys with me so far? Dimitri, you could if you wanted to. I'm just trying to be simple and just sell the first strike out of the money without getting into the weeds on delta rules. Okay? I mean, you could sell the 38 strike, the 37.50, the 39, whatever you want. Okay? I'm just going based off of just the first strike out of the money to keep it simple. Okay? All right, so is there a C? Is there a way I can be like this guy and just put up a lot less money to control the stock and then sell a call against that? That's what we're going to talk about today. How do we be this C example where we can really reduce the cost, which will really pump up this ROI? Okay?